Welcome back to the show. Now it's time to take a look at the latest numbers from around the country, and we've got Charles Tarbey right in the studio. Charles,
yes, Chris,
what's happening?
Oh, it's wonderful out there again.
Those numbers, you're on there by the second.
Well, you know, the numbers are still coming in, even though Tom's talking about cold, standing there licking an ice cream or licking a lollipop's not exactly, what do they call those? Anyway, it doesn't matter. That's probably not the best thing to be doing, but buying a house is 68.9%, clearance rates right across the country, 65.1% this time last year. Now, Sydney had 72.4 clearance rate, Melbourne 71.4, and Brisbane, the wonderful Brisbane, hit 59.5, which is great because we've been talking about Brisbane and the movement there. But Adelaide's still really going strong, 64.4% in Adelaide clearance rates. So pretty solid around the country when you look around it.
Yeah, because both of us were speaking at Pat Mercedes' tour in Brisbane last weekend. What did you think of the mood in the room there and the market?
Look, there's plenty of people that would love to buy real estate if they could, and there's plenty of people who would buy another property if they could, and that's really going to stay there for a long time.
So the big question is, homes advertised for sale?
Down 4 weeks in a row, negative 1.16 over this time last week, so it's continued the decline. New Zealand actually is even stronger in there. Their decline in the number of properties coming on the market is even greater than here in Australia. So there's a decline right across the region of new properties coming on for sale. Look, it is an indication of winter, but it is also a very strong indication, from my point of view, that sellers are still going to wait and have a look around and see what happens.
And again, does that make the agents keener to do business?
Yeah, the agents are still screaming for more stock because even though it's winter, there's still plenty of buyers out there that would buy property if they could. So stock is still a big issue.
And so while they might not negotiate on their fees, they've got more time to market your property.
Yeah, they have, but it's concerning, Chris. We need to get that spike start coming through now of properties coming on the market for spring. Tom was talking about 50 days. He must count the days down ready for his auctions to go out there. We need to start seeing an increase in the amount of property coming on the market, particularly in the next 3 to 4 weeks. It needs to start again. Otherwise, you get that competitive situation. It gets too competitive, and you don't want the market to go crazy again. Otherwise, Moody's will be right.
Now, we were talking about rents earlier on. What's the chart looking like there? Still flat line?
I started keeping the charts 2 years ago from zero. And they climbed up to the mid-12s, and they've sat there for such a long time. Sydney still at 11.76% since I kept the charts from zero to now 2 years, but they've sat in that soft range. Melbourne 8.2, Perth at 18.67. So when you look at the three of them combined, it's a 12.88% increase from zero to there, but flat for the last 3-4 months now, absolutely flat.
And you mentioned vacancy rate as well.
Yeah, they're good. The vacancy rates are still pretty good. Perth hit 5.05, which is pretty high, but Melbourne sat at 3.08 and Sydney sat at 2.96, so they had an average of 3.7. So still in the 3 to 4 range. I'm comfortable with that, and so should landlords be. Now,
also we always talk about your bet with RP Data.
Yeah.
How's the bet running at the moment? To maybe just remind the viewers
we're
what
going
it was.
pretty well. We zeroed in on one capital city this time. They've got a bet going in Melbourne with somebody else. So they believe that the Sydney market will increase this calendar year by greater than 10% the median price. I believe it'll be less than 10%. Now, we're sitting at around 5-ish. It went up and down and up and down, and I think that spring will boost it up a little bit, but I also think that it'll probably settle down. I could lose the bet, but I think I'm going to be pretty safe at the moment at under 10%.
Because 2 years in a row, RP Data have lost, and
well,
they bought lunch, haven't they?
They claim we both won the first year. I don't know how that works. But anyway, look, Graham Mirabetta is a good mate of mine, and he's a fair guy, and he paid for a very big lunch at the start of this year, and I'm hoping he's going to do the same at the start of next year.
Perfect. Now, in terms of, say, first home buyers, people trying to get in the market, obviously a lot of the peak has kind of come off it. Any tips for the first home buyers out there that are looking to get into the market now?
Yeah, the tips I'd probably give them is, the most important tip is don't buy what you want to live in if you can't afford it. Buy what you can, and don't go too far away from where the capital growth is, but buy what you can, not what you want. It's an absolutely critical point.
And again, the social stigma about renting has gone out these days, pretty much, isn't it? So rent where you can afford to rent, and buy when you can buy where you can afford.
Rent in the city if that's where you want to live, but just get into the market somewhere else. You know, my first house was on a main road opposite a railway station. And, you know, it's not the most comfortable of things. And as I've told many people, real estate agents would describe that as a stone's throw to all amenities. Well, you know, I had that main road railway station, but I did so well out of that property. tax-free within a very short space of time, just over 12 months, because the market changed and I was in the market, Chris.
So the main thing is get into the market as well.
Yeah,
Thanks for joining us as always, Charles Tarbey. Thanks for joining us at home. We'll be back next week. Until then, I'm Chris Gray. Good night.